Let's get started, and first of all let's focus over this side of the room, and we're going to have a look at this Championship Sprint, one of the favourite games from my childhood. Brilliant fun with the steering wheels, the way that you spin it. The game dynamics is fantastic on a real arcade cabinet. Certainly can't reproduce the same feel if you're trying to do that in MAME. Moving on, around to the right here, we have my, what I call the Atari shelf, and on that shelf there's a lot of old 8-bit Atari gear. And really that's where computing for me in general, and games and arcades and everything started, right back at the Atari VCS or the 2600, which you may be familiar with. So that shelf is dedicated to a lot of the stuff that I have around the 8-bit console, as well as that original VCS, a lot of box games. So anyway, that's the Atari shelf. If we move on around to the right, further around the room, we have what looks to be a Sega Blast. But of course, you smart people out there will know that it's not a Sega Blast, because it is in fact a Chinese copy of a Sega Blast City. And in all other respects, it looks very, very similar in terms of the shape. Of course, it's black, so that should have given it away. Those of you that know the cabinets know that these should actually be white if it was a genuine cabinet. This is a black one. This is just Chinese one, Chinese copy. It's a lot of good things about that, actually, that particular cabinet. Moving around further in the room, we have a ice cold beer setup, and it's a bit rudimentary because all it is actually a control panel from an ice cold beer machine and nothing else. It's got an emulated software version of ice cold beer done by someone very clever on the VP4. Now, moving around from here, we sort of drop out of our arcade area and into a little music corner, and I've got my guitar, keyboards, and my drums. And my drums are also emulated or virtualized. They're playing BFD samples. If you're those drummers out there familiar with the BFD software, it's basically triggering samples of real live drum sounds from a computer, from a Mac, which I've got set up down there, and it sounds incredible. And the drums are completely virtualized. It's a Roland V drum kit, but also it's got a heart snare in there, and also some heart dynamic cymbals. Moving on anyway, so getting around to here, we have the virtual pinball. This is themed up Theatre of Magic, the actual pinball machine, but that was a 90s machine, and this isn't a 90s cab for those people that are very astute. Probably some people will be not too happy that I put the Theatre of Magic decals on a cab that's not in the 90s. It's currently running virtualized pinball and Pinball FX, and a bit of the Pinball Arcade, although I don't use that a lot because there's not a lot of cabinet support. But this little guy here has a real DMD, 2 screens with a back glass and the main play field. Moving around, we then have a main box which I scratch built myself. One of my first main boxes. In fact, it was the second one after the cocktail machine, which we'll look at in a minute. You can probably see here that it's got an independent marquee, and it's also got a flyer area showing the flyer for the game, although this particular one doesn't have a flyer. I'll just bounce to another one. There we go. There's one with a flyer, and also showing the control panels of the game and that sort of thing, which is quite nice, extra information when you're playing. It's just got a fridge down here too, which you'll see, which I slotted in there, but that's a custom scratch built main cab. Moving around, we have what looks like, and certainly was back in its day, a original Atari APB cabinet. It's been converted to a World Rally. Unfortunately, it's lost a lot of its original parts from it being an APB. Following round, we have a genuine Taito or Taito, it depends how you want to say it, Missile Command cocktail cabinet. That's the cocktail cabinet. The last machine that we have in here, before we talk about the general PC, is this guy down here, which is another scratch-built cocktail table, which, as I mentioned earlier, was one of the 2 that I originally built as purpose-built MAME machines. So that's the the final arcade game machine, if you like, in this room. But we have a PC in the corner. That PC has a ton of emulation on it as well, so emulating a lot of other systems. And cool things there too, because it's displayed on a projector, so I have the possibility of doing, dual screen or even triple screen games on that projector format. It works actually pretty well when it's large like that on the screen. So I hope you will join us for this journey, and if you want to, then please obviously subscribe if you like this video. Hit a like for us, it'll kick it off. and I'll get busy and start making some more videos. Hope to see you in the next episode. Until then, ciao for now.